I should say they're also stepping in with a new leader who's got to prove himself and be visible on this. And I really, I'm going to leave.
여러분 안녕하세요. 안녕하세요. 오늘도 뉴스 읽어주는 여자랑 같이 라이브 하는 거예요.
What do you do? Check every rivet? I mean, how does that work?
Boeing's down 2% in the pre-market. Coming up on this program, economic data, reaction to it. PPI just around the corner. Mohammed Al-Arian of Queen's College, Cambridge, with us for the next 30 minutes to close out this hour and this show. From New York City, this is Bloomberg.
조은 씨, 오늘도 안녕하세요. 일단은 시작하기 전에 보시다시피 제가 지금 수익하는 상태예요. 제가 라이브 시작하기 전에 좀 타이밍을 잘 잡아가지고 이때다 싶어서 매수 포지션 좀 잡았는데 좀 괜찮게 잡았어요. 그러니까 92,000원이나 벌었어요. 오늘은 시작이 좀 괜찮은 것 같아요. 맞아요. 오늘은 보시다시피 제가 여기 춘향 뉴스에 또 올렸는데 이 한국 시간으로 딱 2분 있다가 BPI 발표가 있는데 그 이후로 해외 선물은 난리 나겠죠? 난리 나기 때문에 그때도 조심하게 거래를 해봐야죠. 일단 매매는 어떻게 될지 좀 지켜봐야 될 것 같고 재밌는 거 뭐 있는지 한 번 더 찾아볼게요. 찾아보고 여러분들한테 공유할게요.
Today, 75% of the African people have a mobile phone. They use one. Okay? And we will do the same with the internet.
발표 일본 전이라 지금 벌써 보시다시피 지금도 조금 난리 나긴 했는데
and we need investment support.
어제처럼 이런 롤러코스터 없었으면 해요. 어제는 좀 충격을 너무 많이 받아가지고
Bloomberg has enhanced search on the terminal to deliver what you need when you need it. Now, you can simply type phrases in everyday English in the command line.
일단은 해보시죠. 일단 딱 30분이라서 일단 저는 매수 포지션을 잡았어요. 역시 예상대로 많이 올라가네요. 일단 봅시다. 지금 딱이죠. 지금은 많이 올라가네요. 이거야.
0.3%. In the bond market, yields are a little bit higher by 2 basis points on a 10-year, just short of 4%, 398.99 on a 2-year, higher by 2 basis points to about 4.26. With the economic data, let's say good morning to Michael McKee. Morning, Mike.
Good morning, John. And good morning to
오케이.
with some good news on inflation.
너무 좋네. 오케이, 올라가.
than anticipated. PPI for final demand down 0.1%. The forecast was for a 10th
일단
gain.
시작이
And
너무
last month, it was
나쁘지
completely flat.
않은 것 같아요.
The core ex food and energy is
혹시
flat.
주원 씨도
That was
매수하셨어요?
expected to be up 0.2%. And ex food energy and trade, which is
매도하셨으면 진짜 큰일 나요. 와, 그거 봐요. 이렇게 많이 올라가긴 했는데 이거 뭐죠?
PPI goes up to 1% from 0.9%, core 1.8%, and the ex food and energy and trade stays unchanged at 2.5%. Everybody says
매수면 그럼 다행이네요.
not a direct correlation between the two, but PPI has been falling faster than CPI, so we shall see.
제가 사실 오늘은 좀 너무 힘든 하루여가지고 할 게 너무 많았어요. 그러니까 제가 오늘 텐션이 좀 낮을 수 있는데 그래도 차트 텐션이 너무 마음에 드는데요.
Probably means that PCE is going to come in lower than CPI.
And John, the revisions of PPI out seconds
이런
ago
텐션이
are also
유지했으면
diminished
좋겠어요.
over what they were 30
쭉쭉 올라갔으면
Mike,
좋겠어요.
that was good news. The market seems it the same way. Let's go through the boards. We'll start with equities, then to bonds, and then we'll get to foreign exchange. Equities turn around just a little bit. We're well off session lows. We're still down a touch on the S&P by almost 0.1%. After that, into bonds, yields were higher. Now they're lower at the front end by 2 basis points. Your 2-year is 4.22, and the dollar, the euro against the dollar was negative. We're just about unchanged now, 109.68. So the dollar giving up some of that strength.
지금 좀
Mike McKee, you called up the
내려가긴
Investor of the Cleveland
하는데
Fed yesterday. March is too early. Is that the
아직은
Fed view or the
괜찮은
view
것
on the
같아요.
FOMC?
Well, I think it's a much wider
근데
view than just the Cleveland
왠지는
Fed. They're
오늘
gonna want more
롱으로
data.
가면 안 될 것 같아요.
Obviously, we could see some big change in the data, but the data that we have been getting kind of tells the same story.
일단
And so they
보시죠.
don't need to cut in March, and unless the economy slows significantly, they probably won't. But it does set up May. Let me just
빨간색.
note this is a services story in PPI today. Final demand services unchanged. Final demand goods fell 0.4%. That continues a long trend. And the one thing that went up is the thing that's been going up
여기
quite some time,
좋네요.
that is securities,
굉장히
brokerage,
좋네요.
dealing, and investment. That
쭉쭉
increased
올라가고
3.3%.
있네.
The fees you're being charged
Well,
to
that's
trade,
John day
and
trading Bitcoin.
it is kind of an interesting point to make on a day when bank earnings are coming out.
I want to squeeze this in before
뭐
Dr. Larry and
오늘
Edgar
같은
Brennan
날은
published late last night and
나는
made real
좀
clear ex-shelter inflation is disinflation.
수익을
There's no
볼 수
shelter in
있을 것
PPI,
같은데요.
So does this quiescent report suggest Denny's right? That basically there is disinflation in place except for a some shelter statistic?
In a general sense, yes, it does. And it suggests that we're going to see continued improvement in inflation. But
다
fast
차라냐.
is the open question. Before
고스톱도
we
못
go to
못 치는 사람한테.
I have to take a moment and congratulate him
저는
because we've been talking about this for a long
고수
time. He's
아니고
the man,
소심한
if you're an
편이에요.
NFL fan and you don't like the New England Patriots,
소심한
the New York
편이고
Jets are the team that not only does
운이
Muhammad follow, but
조금
they're the
있는
team that drove
사람?
Bill Belichick out of the NFL
라고
by
하고
defeating him
싶은데
last weekend.
사실 그렇지
His
않아요.
last NFL game until maybe he gets another job is a loss to the New York Jets.
I'm about to offend Jets fans across the city, so forgive me ahead of time, but that does speak a lot to where the New York Jets are at, that's like the big defining moment of their season.
Well, I would bet you that
중마담
Belichick
어떻게 하셨어요?
probably has a glass of champagne because it is important.
Can Belichick coach
그
the Jets?
중마담이었나?
He already quit that job once.
죄송해요.
We are going to turn now to Mohammed Al Arian at Queen's College, Cambridge, and it is on economics, finance, and investment. But today it's on something different. After the attacks we saw
오늘
overnight
빨간색으로
against,
쓸 수 있어요.
rebels and terrorists, and of course their relationship to Iran. Mohammed, this goes back to Albert Harani and what we all learned about the history of the Arab people. Bahrain is one of our allies here. Would you suggest that the Arab nations are in support of this allied attack on these rebels?
뉴스 좀 봐야
I
되는데
wasn't just that nervous. You saw a
네.
statement by Saudi Arabia
눈이
is warning
차트밖에
against escalation. And
안
the
보여.
concern here, Tom, is that other proxies, other Iranian proxies in the Middle East will see this as a reason to escalate what's going on in that region. So that's why you hear concern from the Arab countries. The last thing anybody wants is an escalation that becomes region-wide.
Which institution
욕심을 전
can create a
욕심이
dialogue
없어요.
between Tehran and a Western
저는
world
그냥 제
where
월세만 벌면 돼요.
I think first
근데
you
뭐
need to see
좀 돈 벌게
cessation
하늘이
of
저한테
hostilities
더
in
벌게
Gaza. That is a
해주신다면
precondition.
뭐
There
어쩔 수
won't
없이
be the ability
받아들여야죠.
to get people talking in a broader sense in the region until you get a cessation of hostilities in Gaza. Once you get that, then you know that the relationship between Saudi Arabia and Iran has improved. You know that the UAE plays a critical role in
매수 같은
conversations
날은
among countries in the
빨간색
region.
옷을
there are
입어야 되지
parties that can
않을까요?
help, but you need the precondition first.
또
Mohammed, you
지금 좀
warned in Project
떨어지네요.
Syndicate recently not to extrapolate out the
갑작스럽게
favorable
이렇게
trends that we finished
떨어지다니.
last year with. Is there something that's developing in the Middle East right now that you think is a direct threat to that?
It's one of the things, John. I mean, my major concern is that if you look at the three systemically important regions in the world, economically, the Eurozone, the US, and China, all three are having issues growing in a robust manner. The US is the exception there, but even the US now is facing lower household savings, higher debt. China needs to fundamentally change